Our next contributor, the Deputy Leader, the co-leader of the Social Democrats, Deputy Catherine Murphy, please.
Thank you. Taoiseach, those renters out there who are fearful they'll never be able to afford their own home needn't worry. The government has a plan, and it's going to auto-enrol them in a pension so that they can raid the pension fund to continue to pay rack rents when they reach their mid-60s. According to the Irish Independent, a confidential cabinet memo stated the new auto-enrolment pension scheme is particularly important because an increasing number of older people will need sufficient income to meet rental costs during their retirement years. Now, I don't know what planet the government is on, but if anyone thinks the answer to the housing crisis of 2022 is modest pensions that will accrue to people in 20 or 30 or 40 years from now, is it any wonder we're in the mess we're in? Taoiseach, renters reading the Irish Independent today will have been tearing their hair out. Hundreds and thousands of them don't have pensions. Why? Because they can't afford one while paying exorbitant rents of around $2,000 a month and struggling with a very acute cost of living crisis. Declining rates of home ownership are a huge concern. The rate has fallen from 79% in 1991 to 68% in 2016 and will certainly be revealed to have fallen further when the new census is taken and we see the results. It is also the case that the average age someone buys their first home has increased from 27 in 2006 to 35 now. So if people are taking 8 additional years to buy a home, they're spending an additional 192,000 or up to 192,000 in rent. Meanwhile, when they do eventually buy, Ireland has the highest mortgage rates in the EU, while the average house price is 300,000 nationally and over 400,000 in Dublin. All of the additional money sunk into housing costs means there's nothing left over for anything else. Keeping a roof over your head is in the here and now. It trumps any concerns about a pension arrangement. So Taoiseach, while I welcome the government has plans to address the pension time bomb, we have a housing time bomb that really exploded years ago. The two are linked because living mortgage-free in retirement is a completely different proposition than paying market rents, even on a good pension. We have a housing crisis that can only be solved if affordability is seriously tackled. And there are no signs from the government that you're doing this. Can I ask you, Taoiseach, to confirm that it is not the intention of the government to force workers to raid their pensions to pay for rental costs? And what is the government's plan to ensure renters will still be able to pay their rents when they're in retirement?
Thank you very much, Deputy Murphy. Taoiseach.
First instance, could I say that I'm somewhat taken back by the commentary on auto-enrolment. Surely everyone in this House agrees that we should, as a state and as a society, deal with the poor pension provision for workers across this country, those who own homes and those who don't own homes. The auto-enrolment scheme doesn't discriminate in terms of home ownership. And it's not good enough where we are today in society. And I would disagree with you in terms of the use of short term. This has always been the problem. Pensions have always been put on the long term. Decisions have always been deflected because of the lack of perhaps the sense that we have to deal with the here and now. It's essential for workers and it's essential for a proper society into the future that we develop a pension system that's complementary to the state pension system and that's supplementary to the state pension system. I'm delighted that the government has taken a very decisive step to get on with auto-enrolment and to take the decision that we took yesterday. And that's the type of reform and decision-making that this government is about in implementing the programme for government that we've laid out. And we will not be deflected from that. And it's irrespective, doesn't differentiate between whether you own a home or don't own a home. And the most significant issue for us in terms of auto-enrolment is the dearth of cover for so many people across the country. Our supplementary pension coverage has remained static over the last 20 years, hovering around 50% of the total working age population, and this rate reduces to less than 35% when the private sector is considered in isolation. So there can be no argument against doing the right thing, and it will have challenges for all concerned, but it's the right thing to do. Now, in relation to housing and to rent, I've said already, I acknowledge the crisis that housing presents to us today. We've produced the Housing for All strategy some months ago, before the end of last year. It is a clear strategy with financial resources put behind it that will take a number of years, obviously, in terms of getting to the critical mass of housing that we want built across the length and breadth of the country. But supply is the key to this. I've no doubt about that. We cannot go on with 20,000 houses a year. We need certainly the 33 to 35,000, maybe more per annum. And it has to be of a mixed type. And I think also that I mentioned the 31,000 homes commenced construction in 2021. That's the highest since 2008. So that is important. That's a 42% year on year, but of course that's based on the previous year, which was affected by COVID. 1,580 cost rental homes is the target to be delivered this year. I think cost rental is something we have to accelerate into the future and give real options to people. And then the new National First Home Affordable Purchase Shared Equity Scheme will also assist in the purchase of homes.
Taoiseach, of course, auto-enrolment is something that is to be welcomed, and in fact I said that in my contribution, and you must have missed that. But we were also told in The Independent that a confidential cabinet memo stated that a new auto-enrolment pension scheme is particularly important because an increasing number of older people will need sufficient income to meet rental costs during their retirement years. Can you confirm that that is the purpose? Because it does matter. At the moment, there is a generation of people here who are struggling just to keep their head above water because of the cost of housing, particularly rental. They're the same ones that are going to be asked to pay the auto-enrolment, and who will pay then, when it comes to their pension, to keep a roof over their head because they haven't been able to purchase. The two things are linked. And when we come to delivery and supply, and yes, we do need more delivery and more supply, but it has to be affordable. Because, like Taoiseach, history has a habit of repeating itself if you don't learn lessons from it.
Thank you, Deputy.
And we start looking at 80,000 houses built during the Celtic Tiger years. Where did that deliver affordability? It wasn't numbers that delivered affordability. In fact, the crash reduce the house prices.
Thank you, Deputy Murphy. The time is up.
Affordability is something deliberate, and I don't believe I see that in the government's plans, Taoiseach, and there's no evidence of it.
Taoiseach, please.
But I'm not saying for you your solutions. I mean, are you suggesting that we don't build thousands of more houses? Of course we have to build more. Of course we have to build thousands. Yes, affordable. And we're developing schemes to make houses more affordable. It is very challenging because of the fact that 20,000 houses a year. And it was 20,000, I think, in 2021. It was 20,000 in 2020. That's not going to make the inroads that we need. And that's why we do need to get to 33,000, 35,000 per annum, if not more, in terms of... And we do need to, on the delivery side, and I know I annoy people when I say it, we do need to get real in terms of delivering housing schemes much faster than we are as a country. Everybody needs to get real. And there's no point coming in here every week having a go, saying this is a great crisis, this is terrible, the government isn't doing enough, but meanwhile we go on as business as usual on the councils across the country, and in terms of planning for schemes and so on, we think it's business as usual. No problem, we can object to that, we can amend that, we can change that, and yet you come in attacking. That's not going to wash anymore. It is a crisis. We want to deliver houses much faster than currently is the case. And we need cooperation across the board to enable us to do that. On the auto-enrolment, that's a very comprehensive piece of work that the Department of Social Protection and Minister for Social Protection, Head Humphreys, has been involved in.
Thank you, Taoiseach.
All I'd say to you is this. The fundamental rationale underpinning it is to really give pension coverage to workers in our society that supplements the state pension. And that will enable them to have a quality of life in their later years. That's it.
Now, can we please adhere to the time allowed for these matters.